Many of you have probably seen that commercial on TV that ends with these words, "What's in your wallet?" Well, prompted by today's gospel, I'm going to ask you this question: what's in your bucket? The Samaritan woman came to the well with an empty bucket, as maybe we do when we come here to church every Sunday. We're looking for something to put into that bucket, something that will be nourishing, something that will be refreshing, something that will keep us going for the rest of the week. Well, what happens when we come here to church with our bucket? The same thing that happened to the Samaritan woman. She was looking for water. Instead, she found the living water. Jesus gradually drew her from faith to faith in him. First, you notice she just called him "you," a Jew, when he asked her for water. And then, "sir," when he said he would be giving her living water. Then, "you are a prophet," when he reminded her that she had been divorced 5 times. And finally, "can this be the Messiah?" after he told her that he was. Do we go through a journey like that when we come to church every Sunday? I think that depends on what's in our bucket. Do we come with an empty bucket? I mean, what do we expect to get here when we come to Mass each Sunday? In a sense, I don't know what you expect to get here when you come to church each Sunday. That depends on you. But what I do know is what is offered to you. I think what is offered to you is the same Jesus who met that Samaritan woman at the well. You noticed he didn't care if she was a Samaritan, kind of natural enemies of the Jews. He didn't care if she had 5 husbands and the one she was living with was not her husband. He didn't care if she went to the wrong temple or didn't worship at all. All he cared about was the chance to give her living water. Living water makes us come alive, even if we're as dry and parched as Southern California was before the rains. Living water slakes our thirst for something more. Living water comes from the well springs of life. How do we get it? The same way the Samaritan woman did. We ask for it. We believe in it. We accept it, as she did. A fellow named Jeffrey Bruno, who was raised a Catholic, had lost his faith in God many years ago. But he reached a point in his life when he was thirsty and dry. He wanted to finally prove that God does not exist. So he started something special. He went to Mass every day, and this is what he said when he got to church. "Hi, you know I don't love you, and it probably doesn't matter anyway because you probably don't exist. But here I am. Amen." Bruno went through that ritual for 80 days. That's twice as long as Lent. For 80 days, he went to church and said the same thing. Then something happened. He said, "All I can say is, God touched me. I felt a presence that completely overwhelmed my senses, and I experienced it. Love, joy, peace, completeness." If you don't believe in God, or you think he doesn't exist, Bruno said, seek him out. Put your intellectual stuff to the side for a moment and generously seek him. Because if you find Christ, you will know joy. He will reshape you in ways you could never have imagined. In other words, bring an empty bucket. The same Jesus who spoke to that Samaritan woman long ago is here with us today in our Eucharist. The same Jesus that spoke to her and who touched Jeffrey Bruno. And strangely enough, he is the one who asks for a drink, just like he asked the Samaritan woman. What he is looking for is our faith in him. And that's the irony. His thirst is satisfied when he offers himself for us to drink, if we are thirsty enough to want it. It would be so sad if we left church today with an empty bucket when it could have been filled to the brim. Amen. So, what's in your bucket?